Hello, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the November meeting of the Murfreesboro Parks and Recreation Commission. And as it is our custom, we like to start off with a prayer and a pledge. And I'm going to ask Dr. Gloria Bonner if she'll do this for us.
Okay, thank you so much. As we enter our season of Thanksgiving, please join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you that you consider us worthy to steward the mission of Parks and Recreation Commission on behalf of this great community. Thank you for your faithfulness toward us. Thank you for your love toward us as we enter another year of thanksgiving and praise. Help us to keep faith, family, and friends close to our hearts and never take your goodness for granted. In your Son's name, may we all pray. Amen.
Amen.
Now for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bonner. You the best. Commission members, you have in front of you a copy of the minutes from our last meeting. If you'll glance at those, and I'll entertain a motion that we approve those.
So moved.
Do I have
Second.
got a motion and a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And there are none. So we'll go right into new business here. And Kristen Hopkins, you're going to tell us a little bit about the Natural Resource Division.
Yes. Thank you all for letting me come up today to talk a little bit about what we're up to. I've got a lot to share, so bear with me. I'll try to make it snappy. So two of the questions that we usually get are, what exactly is the Natural Resource Division and what do you guys do? So I thought I would talk a little bit about that first. Natural Resource Management is concerned with managing any resource that comes from nature. That's pretty simple, but it becomes complicated when you start talking about how you're managing and what you're managing it for. And that's anything from land to water to certain kinds of animals or plants. In parks, we are concerned with managing our parks' natural areas, and we do that by promoting biodiversity through the promotion of native systems, preserving what we can that is whole, and conserving what is in use. Those are kind of big fancy words. I can explain them if you'd like, but we can move forward. But the goal is to maintain these natural areas for ecosystem services that provide quality of life, good quality of life for all of life. Ecosystem services are things like flood mitigation, on-the-ground temperature control, air filtration, water filtration, those things that we actually need. And so we are concerned with making sure that those natural areas have healthy and resilient systems. Parks has a little under 900 acres of what we consider natural areas. A natural area to us is any space that is to some extent kept wild and has ecological systems and services going on within them. I could talk to you about all of the things that we're in, but I'm going to focus on one today, and that's Murphy Springs. At Murphy Springs, we have two major things going on. The first thing is the bank restoration along the wetland streamline there, and pollution control. The bank restoration effort has been pretty challenging in that area because of all of the hands that have been there throughout the decades, really. There's a lot of disturbance that have been in that area. And a few years ago, we took down what was essentially a wall of bush honeysuckle right there as you drive into Discovery Center's parking lot. And we took all of that out, and now we're trying to put back in native things that would be there naturally. We hope that the challenges that we have faced in this particular area are not the same throughout the whole system. We hope that the rest of the system has an intact native seed bank that's going to help us out. This particular area did not have that, so we've had to put in a lot of things back into that spot, and it's taken about 3 years to work in this area. But we're moving around to the other areas of the wetland there, and we'll continue that effort. Another major issue there is pollution control. There is a lot of litter that flows into that area. Just because of the nature of its low-lying, it's surrounded by a high-density urban area. And there are 6 stormwater inputs that go into there, so it sees a lot of that runoff and drainage that goes in there. So we spend a lot of time, staff time and volunteer time, cleaning that litter out and doing our best to keep it out of there. And I'll talk a little bit more about volunteers and trash efforts later. Coming up this winter, there is, if you're familiar with the site, then you know that there is an interactive wetland garden there. 20 some odd years ago, that was planted with plants that are now on the invasive do not plant list. We are seeing some of those plants show up in the wetland proper. And so our goal there is to get all of that out, and then we have a redesign plan in place. And we will be growing those plants ourselves to put back into there. And hopefully by next winter, we'll have a true interactive wetland garden that represents what a real wetland, a native wetland looks like, but still offers the opportunity for play and exploration. Continuing the theme with Murphy Spring, we wanted to hear from the public, those that use this space, and how they feel about it and why they visit it. So we did a kind of quick and easy 7-question survey last month and kept it open for a month. And we've got some pretty good feedback. I was pleased to see that just about everyone who responded said that their key reason for visiting was connecting with nature. I think it highlights the importance of these natural spots within the city, within urban areas, and shows that the public agrees that connecting with nature is important. And there are many studies that show the benefit of that, both physically and mentally and spiritually as well for some people. And then others said just getting outside, fresh air, time with family, and things like that. Some of the comments I thought were really positive. People have taken their kids there. They always put down their screens. They love seeing the otters and the beavers and all the wading birds and the wildlife that's there. It's a beautiful, relaxing slice of nature, somebody said. It's a little sanctuary in the middle of town. So there are lots of positive benefits to this site, and we were glad to see the responses that came out of this survey. Any questions about that so far? I'm happy to share like the full results of that survey if anybody's interested. Another one of our programs is the Native Plant Project. About 3 years ago, this commission approved the acquisition of getting a nonprofit educational nursery license so that we could grow at a very small scale native plants that we wanted to provide the citizens as well as parks with native plant species that people and us could be confident in where they came from, as well as their appropriateness for this region. And so we've put together some data points here that I wanted to share with you. In 2021 and 2022, we've distributed 592 native plants representing 63 species. These have gone out into our community. You'll see there that Rutherford County has the highest percentage, and I don't have that figure here, but within that 64%, over half of that was in Murfreesboro city limits. I could wax poetic for a long time about why native plants are important and why I care about them and think that this program is really great, but I won't do that. But if anybody wants to hear that, catch me after this meeting and I'll be glad to talk to you about native plants. Additionally, we put in 303 native plants representing 32 species in our parks, Barfield and Murphy Spring being the primary recipients of those. And just for fun, we kind of put together a cost of what it costs us to produce one plant based on that pot size. And that's materials as well as labor put into that. And if you look at it, the 80 plants that we planted at Barfield cost us $114. If we had purchased those at retail, it would have cost us $750. So we've saved $630, just for fun if you wanted to see those figures. Also, even though revenue generation is not one of the primary goals of this plant project, it is fun to see that at the event sales where we have been tracking distribution and individual species, we've raised $1,800 in 2021 and almost $2,700 in 2022. And then we also built like a small plant stand that sits outside of the Wilderness Station. We put plants out there that people can just pick up throughout the year if they want to get them. And the distribution and inventory is not as studied as the event are, but it is contributing to that revenue. So I think over the past 2 years, we've got about $6,000 in plant sale revenue. And that shows up in the Wilderness Station revenue. One of the other programs that we've started about this time last year actually is our volunteer program. We really wanted to be a little bit more organized in how we interact with the community, and wanted to invite and create more opportunities for our community to give back and work with us and understand kind of the nuts and bolts of what the Natural Resource Division does. And those primary areas are, in the native nursery, working in the native gardens, and in the community gardens, doing citizen science with us, and habitat restoration. And if anybody watching or anybody in this room is interested in being a part of that, it's easy to find. Just go to murfreesboroparks.com, search or click on Outdoor Murfreesboro, and hit that Volunteer With Us page, and that will take you to our signups. We have things going every month. So. One of the things that's not listed on here is trash. The vast majority of volunteer efforts and staff efforts are in trash removal. I just wanted to show you some numbers here just to show you kind of the impact. This is just this year, from January to the end of October, volunteers and staff have removed over 10,000 pounds of trash from the Greenway, from Murphy Springs. Those are the two top, the Greenway and Murphy Springs are the two top areas that see a lot of it. But other parks see it as well. Staff time, 25% of our lands crew time is spent on trash, and volunteer hours, 619 volunteer hours have been spent on removing trash from mostly the waterways there on the riparian area and within the water. The Stones River has a lot of tires in it, and so we spend a lot of time getting those tires out this year as well. Other types of service, as you can see, trash cleanup is the majority at 619 hours. Community citizen science comes second. Public events like help at Hummingbird Festival or the Conservation Days events that we put on, Boat Day. In the nursery, in the gardens, stewardship, which includes invasive removal and trail maintenance and things. So total, January through the end of October, about 1,200 hours of volunteer service was done with us in our parks. And if you want to put a dollar figure on that, based on the independent sectors, which is a .org, they look at these numbers. 2021, they put the Tennessee volunteer rate at $26 an hour. So they've contributed $31,000 in community service, which is a huge impact and has value, of course. The value for us is our ability to work with people in our community that care about the things that we care about, and to have them be part of that and what we do. So, okay, that's all I have for you today. Next time I'll have some more things that we're working on and involved in. And if there's no questions, this is my information. If anybody has any questions about it or wants to get involved in any way, let me know.
Questions for Kristen?
Just one, Mr. Director, I think this is something that you and I might have talked about in the past. This trash it's associated with the Greenway. Is that something that you're sharing with other departments in the city to let them know about that and maybe get some help? Is that maybe associated with the folks that are using the Greenway for other than its intended purposes?
I want to make sure I understand your question, but as far as do we maintain the cleanliness, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, as I think you had mentioned that to me very early on as an issue.
Okay.
And I noticed that in the statistics that she provided that was a large portion of it, and I'm just curious to know if that's being brought to the attention of some others as well.
Yeah, I think I understand what you're talking about. We've had great success, and inherently we'll have trash on the Greenway, and it's something our staff works hard to clean up. We have special cleanup days. We have volunteer days to typically clear out the normal trash, I guess you would say, or the stormwater trash. We have had a homeless issue on the Greenway that we've had to work on for years. That's something the police department has put together a specific task force with officers and then some intervention specialists who work with the folks that might be out there, and they've really, I wouldn't want to assign an arbitrary percentage, but it's significantly less on the Greenway. We've seen really great results with
Okay.
that. So that type of trash that we have to deal with is not as often anymore. And then when we do deal with that, we partner with the Public Works Department to help clean up on that.
Right, and that's the main point that I was asking is, because I know that you brought it up and have had some communication. I was wondering if it is getting better, and you're suggesting that it is.
It is. I think specifically the task force that the police department has put together and the folks that they have that can give the resources out or make sure that people are aware of the resources has helped tremendously.
Good. Good report.
Thanks.
Very good report. Any other questions? Thank you for the work that you do and the natural areas that you take care of are just so vital to our whole program and all our facilities. And glad to see the plant sale is doing so well in the plant program. I remember when we did the license back last year. So keep doing what you're doing. Next on the agenda, we have Chad Hill. I was glad to see him, 'cause it scared me. I thought the other Chad Hill was gonna be here.
No, it's just
He's a
me.
fine man too, though, I will say that. Chad, you're gonna tell us about the Performance Enhancement Camp for Patterson.
Yeah, we'd like to get performance enhancement camp approved for the summer. It'd be held for youth ages 12 through 17. We're going to introduce proper lifts, proper form for deadlifts, squats, bench press, as well as accessory lifts. The camp would be held June 12th through the 16th, 3 hours a day. And we're also going to incorporate speed and agility training with that as well. It would take place at Patterson Park. We want to charge $50 with a $10 activity fee. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Any questions for Chad? If not, I'll entertain a motion that we approve in this new program.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. Next on the agenda, we have Roger Brady. Going to tell us about the Youth Running Experience Camp.
Yes,
Also in Patterson.
Yep. This program will teach the runner their latest running skills and will be training in the tips to inspire them to run longer distance instead of just the track distance. They'll gain the confidence and the knowledge to get focused on the distance running as a sport through proper warm-up. They'll learn not to start too fast and how to maintain that endurance. The discussion of interval training will also provide them tools on how to race properly, how to eat and recover better. And the distance we're going to cover in that is going to be from 1 mile to 3 miles. And then we're going to have the date of the program between June the 5th and June the 9th. And it'll take place at the Greenway Trailheads. And on that, I figured we would try maybe one trailhead one day, one trailhead the next day, and possibly use one that has maybe hills in it so they can learn the different interval training. So they could learn hill training, flat surface, and then they would also be able to maybe get on the trail as well. The cost of the program would be $25 with a $10 activity fee. And the age group will be middle school, 11 years old to like 17 in high school.
Sounds
Anybody
good,
has any
Roger.
questions?
Any questions?
I don't have any issue with the cost of this one or the other program that was just briefed by the gentleman before you. But just out of curiosity, how were those numbers? How did we come up with those numbers for charges? in case somebody asks me.
Looking at that, because I've been running, the years I've been running, the average cost of a race is about $25. So they would learn to be able to run up to 3 miles, and the average 5K is anywhere from $25 to $35.
Okay, I probably should ask the other gentleman who's up here, because that's 60, but that's fine. I was just curious as because when this hits, undoubtedly somebody will say, well, how'd you come up with this type of thing? So.
Right.
I can speak to the one that Chad presented. We did look at our other camps that we have available, and with that half-day camp, that fits into our fee structure.
Okay.
The other camps that we're offering.
Okay, there you go, right there. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions?
I'll entertain a motion that we consider this new program at Patterson Park for the running experience. Do I have a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Roger.
Thank you.
Lot going on at Patterson. Always is. Next up, we have Dr. Sam. Going to tell us a little bit about the Miracle Field.
Yes, thank you guys so much for hearing my proposal. So this would be a collaboration between Middle Tennessee State University and Murfreesboro Parks and Rec Athletic Department. So I actually recently just graduated from MTSU, so I'd be collaborating with a member who is in my cohort, Dr. Lauber, Dr. Gomez, and Dr. Lewis from the Media and Arts Department. Essentially what we'd be doing is and by we, I mean Dr. Lauber, has secured a experiential learning grant through MTSU, and they would digitize Miracle Field. So we'd be using upper division level students from the Media Arts Department to take 360 photos and videos of the Miracle Field. If you're not familiar, there's a dirt field, our adaptive turf, and then an adaptive playground. So we'd be using the adaptive playground and the adaptive turf. We would not use the dirt field for this. And those students would go out and they would take 360 photos, videos. We could make an immersive experience with the playground, so that way they can interact with the slides, the zip lines, etc. And then for the adaptive turf, it would actually be a learning like voiceover, if you will. So they'll be learning about the turf, how to create adaptive sports, and also our accessible dugouts, the way the field is laid out, the restrooms, etc. So that's basically what the proposal is. This is fully grant funded. And yeah, so I guess we're seeking approval for that project.
Questions?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Once completed, what is the intended audience or the goal of the?
Yeah, of course. So Dr. Lauber currently teaches a completely asynchronous online degree. So they would be using the videos for their online program for their disability and diversity course. That way they can move through space. For classes that are specifically online, you can't require students to go and visit locations. So this way they could have an immersive online experience and they could see our parks. For the media arts students, they would actually be using this as an internship. So they're going to be paid through the grant money. The grant money is not going to be used for admin or anything like that. It's all for student pay, and they'll be able to use that on their portfolios. For Parks and Rec, I've already discussed with them about being able to use this on our sites, and specifically in the future, if we're able to obtain more grant money, to create an immersive online experience where you can put on a VR headset and you could actually walk through Miracle Field.
Does it cost us anything?
No, sir. Not a dime.
Good. I'd much rather than be on the field than having a virtual experience, quite frankly. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I think it's an exciting opportunity with regard to the intellectual capital, particularly for the MTSU students, as well as the human capital, because portfolio is the way to go now in the recent job market in helping them to develop those skills.
Yes, yes. And it will be Dr. Gomez and Dr. Lewis, they'll put together an application process to pick those upper division level students. I will stay out of that because that's, out of my realm. But so they'll select students who they feel would best partner with us and give Murfreesboro, the best light and footprint.
Okay, if there are no other questions, I'll ask for a approval of this digitalization of the Miracle Field.
Move approval.
Do I have a second? Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Very exciting. We love our Miracle Field out there, don't we, Thomas? Next on the agenda, Eric's going to come and give us an update at the Adams Tennis Complex. Good to see you, Eric.
Good to see everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to tell you about Adams Tennis Complex and what we're doing out there. We've been able to sustain the successes of my predecessors and work with our partners. Currently, we have 826 total members. 4 of them are military members, 5 of them are college members, 432 family members, 90 individual members, people that just want to just join for themselves, 236 senior members, 57 junior members, and 4 school members. And today we had 3 sign up as well, so we're adding to that, but not 3 every hour like we did today. As an example of our ability to sustain our successes through our partnership, we had 700 people participate recently in October for USTA tournament. So league players from Georgia, Kentucky, and all over Tennessee came over and played. It was one of our largest events we've ever had. Again, our partners ran that, and they did a very good time. We had 143 applicants for block time. 140 of them got in, so that's a very high success rate. Only 3 people opted out of that, so I felt extremely successful in that. We've added a few social mixers. We've introduced some senior mixers, some ladies mixers, and some potlucks, and we have 3 coming up in November and 3 in December. 3 ladies and 3 adult potlucks. But we actually gave one up to MTSU because they're trying to raise $1 million for their outdoor courts. So we said, if you guys want to do a fundraiser during that one of our mixer times, you can do that. That might better serve the community. We have 3 open recruitments currently. We got 1 full-time program coordinator, an internship position open, and a part-time facility lead. And that's more or less what's going on at Adams Tennis Center.
Yeah. Questions for Eric right now? Okay, you're still up.
All right.
Looks like you have some new tennis classes.
Okay. Shall we start with ages 3 and 5? Is that okay? Start with that one. Okay. Adams Tennis Complex has a rich history of offering advanced level tennis instruction, credit to our tennis pros and our tennis staff, and is interested in expanding to offer grassroots and recreational opportunities, really to maximize exposure to the sport of tennis. The more people that have an opportunity to experience that joy and see if they want to, continue that, the better. Providing entry-level programs to a younger demographic exposes new families to the tennis community and its offerings. So the proposal would like to see is a 45-minute class offered for preschoolers ages 3 to 5. Participants will be charged $7.50 for a 45-minute class. The fee is consistent with the standard $10 rate. There will be no guest fee associated with that. So a lot of our classes have a $15 per session guest fee if they're not a member. So I figured waive that for the grassroots and recreational crowd. Respectfully, I'd like to see if that is approved.
Any questions on this program?
Yeah, is that done by one person for a whole class of folks, or is that one-on-ones, or what is it?
Well, You know, it's going to have to be a team effort because the way I look at it, I want to have an army of kids, and one person is not going to be able to handle that. You know, ideally, my stakeholders, my partners are going to be moms. The more moms I can get kind of to buy into that and to see that their kids want to participate in that, the better. But we also obviously are going to have some specialized tennis instructors doing that, which takes a special kind of person, you know, someone that can deal with a little bit of chaos, controlled chaos, and has a passion for youth. So finding the right people for that.
Good.
When will this activity or this program take place?
Well, I would like to plug it in to Saturday mornings and also right after or right before our other programs start. So right around 3 o'clock, like 3 to 4. That would be ideal. You know, logistics is always going to be an issue for parents, whether even if their kids are in high school or not. So finding the right times might be a little bit of an experiment. You know, Murfreesboro traffic is getting more challenging as times go on. So I want to pick times that make sense to parents. But partly why I want to do it Saturday morning is because, you know, people like myself work during the day, and it's hard for us to take our kids to classes when we got little ones. So weekends, you know, are a little bit more flexible. But also, you know, some parents do have that ability, particularly they might already be in preschool or other activities, and just, you know, kind of make that part of their weekly routine. So kind of really tackle it in those two ways.
Mr. Chairman, I think what we want to do with this is we want to get the fee and then the new program approved and allow staff to be able to plug that in gaps where there isn't existing programming, existing block time, or existing commitments, and just having it during times that it's open and it just makes sense.
Very good, very good. Do you contemplate it being in the summertime or all year? Or
all year for sure. And you know, thinking forward, I'd also like to have some partnerships with the USTA where it's like it's called NJTL, where it's kind of a free event, you know, for kids of all ages as well. But really, I think the focus of this program is to really develop the grassroots and entry level to really maximize the exposure to as many kids as possible. So year-round is the goal, with some highlighted events throughout particularly summer, when people have more flexibility with their schedule. Or maybe they just want to get their kids out of the house, I don't know.
Very good.
If you had to guess now, when would you think this would kick off? Yes.
Okay.
We're not going to hold you to it.
I'm always a man of action. I'd like to do it today, but I would say March is kind of the realistic date.
Yep.
3 to
I
5.
think it's a great opportunity for the development of gross motor skills as well as social development, following instructions, being a part of a team. So I commend you there.
Thank you. Well, you nailed it. And I am actually inspired by my boss. I go to toddler time, and I recognize the fact that there's the social skills are what we're working on, developing good citizens, you know, being respectful of others, being aware of yourself. So it's more than just tennis. Absolutely.
And it's easier on the mothers. We learned to play tennis with clay courts. And can you imagine the clay dirt we tracked into the house? So now you have a complex for that.
Yeah.
Mothers and dads that take care of laundry.
Well, as I updated, Adams is a wonderful place. It's just an absolute gem in the community.
Yes.
3 to 5 is very young. And I guess when I think about tennis, have we seen, and I agree with Dr. Bonner, what a great exposure for the students at such a young age to such a great sport. Have we done, or have you seen with this age group done other places successfully?
Absolutely. And you know, the funny thing is, I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, and they're quite different. So that is it's only 2 years, but you know, there's a lot of diversity and you know, attention spans and abilities through there. So yes, I've always said tennis is a sport for a lifetime. From 3 to 85, I think our oldest participant is almost 90. So it really is a full lifetime sport. because it's not just hitting balls over the net. You know, it really is kind of games, and like I say, it's socialization, just with some racket work, some ball work, you know, eye-hand coordination, as you're saying, which also helps you learn how to read, as you probably know, those fine motor skills and things like that. So, I would say it's standard, in my opinion, that you have programming for this young age group. It's not an outlier by any means.
I think I still have my old wooden Wilson racket from that age.
Guest instructor.
Yeah, my thoughts are that, you know, it's a great program to get started, but I think once you start something like this, then the next stage is, what are you going to do with them when they've caught the bug? Where's the place that they're going, you know, what are we going to do next? So there's got to be that thought too, is because one 45-minute session might light a fire in some child, and they want to know are there opportunities for us to play at a different, you know, so you got to think about that too. So I appreciate you thinking. You're at Genesis, but we got some other work to do.
Thank you. You're right. There needs to be a comprehensive pathway, and I intend to do a recreational pathway, as we already have that, and we already have a competitive pathway. But just to define it a little more clearly, there's always going to be some flexibility. You know, people don't always fit in a box, but there's definitely a pathway.
Something just to mention too, one of the things Eric's been doing as far as this whole campus of ATC is a lot of the programs that we're bringing are not just inside the building. We're looking at adding programs outside, you know, during the times of year, so it won't take up as much space. But I think that's what we're looking for, some of those recreational opportunities to get outside and just get people active, and that's a goal of ours all the time.
Well, it's an excellent program from that standpoint, and the thing that I'm really impressed with on this is a very good example of us attempting to try to address the needs of our community. I think this is excellent from that standpoint. As you said, once you get this started and get a chance to taste it, so to speak, you'll be able to add those other steps, you know, post this. And I just think it's great to be able to have something like this in terms of how we engage the community from a Parks and Recreation standpoint. So I applaud you for it.
Thank you. It's definitely a team effort. We've got partners as well, the USTA, you know, and they have pathways as well. You know, tennis lessons by themselves really isn't the goal. It's to get out there and play, you know. So it's not just Adams, but it's the schools, the middle schools, the high schools, the USTA, you know, we got MTSU even. You know, we're all involved in that engagement. And it really, I think it can start here.
Leroy, why don't you make that motion?
I so move.
Do I have a
Second.
second?
Yes.
Have a motion and a second to adding this new program for ages 3 to 5 at the Adams Tennis Complex. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you
Very,
so much.
very well done there. You're still on stage.
Okay. I'd like to propose another program. It's called Competition Bump. It's designed for any adults and advanced juniors. The idea there is it's not going to just be, you know, little kids playing with adults. You know, they got to be able to play tennis to some degree, right? So it's a drop-in activity. We are working on creating drop-in activities open to players looking for some tennis competition where they have easy access to drop in and pick up tennis points in a competitive situation. And it will help people find ways to get organized. I wrote on here well-connected and organized. What I meant there is like it doesn't necessarily require any work on your part. It's like, I think of it like open gym. We got a certain time open, and then we go ahead and play points out. And so you don't need to reserve a court. You don't need to get your friends going, anything like that. Pickup points are a great way for people to get together in large groups and play lots of tennis with very few barriers. The program will be organized by ATC and open to adults and advanced juniors. Having a very spontaneous and accessible program such as Competition Court Bump is a very welcoming way for almost any adult and advanced junior to get some competitive points played and play in a social and open context. This will allow for people to readily play tennis with almost no organization required on their part. Participation will be free to members and $10 for non-members. If you don't know what bump is, it's basically king of the court. So if you're the king or champion, you get two lives, I'll say. And if you're a competitor challenging the king, if you lose once, you're out. If you took a life from the king or queen, you get to go again. And if you beat that person, now you're on top. So it's like challenge court. And what happens is you accumulate points, and the more you win, the more you bump up. So it's the better players kind of start pooling with the more competitive players. And if you're struggling, you'll kind of play people your level. So it really kind of equalizes itself out, and you tend to play with people more or less your level. And it's going to be on 4 different courts, and it's an hour long, and it's just a great way to get your tennis fix and say, I'm just going to show up and play some competition points.
Questions regarding bump or the bump drive-in, drop-in?
Competition court bump.
I move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. Very good, Eric. Thank you for
Thank you, guys. It was a
your
pleasure.
good work, and we're glad to have you out there at the tennis complex, and know that there's a lot happening out there, and a lot of great members. How many members? Like 800 or 700 members? 826. Okay, very good. Keep up the good work. Okay. Susan,
Good afternoon.
is Christmas that close?
Yes, it is really close. I'm here to ask for your consideration on our Christmas at Patterson program. It's a new program that we want to engage the community in. We're partnering with Tennessee Valley Winds, the library, and some other places, people in Patterson. We will move the sleigh from the Christmas parade into Patterson in front of the Washington Theater in the lobby of Patterson. And we will set that up. Then we will, on hopefully December 16th, from 3 to 6, it'll be kind of a drop-in. We'll have a Santa Claus there. We'll do crafts, cookie making, decorating classes. There'll be a mailbox for kids to write letters and drop them in for Santa. Tennessee Valley Winds will be there at 6 to play Christmas themed music, and then the Perform Murfreesboro kids will be there singing traditional Christmas carols. There'll be different activities. It'll be a lot of fun. The library will be doing a story time as well. So it's just a drop-in. People can take pictures with Santa with their own phones. We're not going to have a photographer. Everything is completely free. Do you have any questions?
Questions for Susan?
Is there anything like this now, any place in the immediate area that's going on or that's similar?
There might be inside the community, different other people, but not necessarily in the Patterson community.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion that we approve this new program at Patterson?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Say aye.
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 Any opposed? There are none.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan, for everything that you do there. Again, there's a lot happening at Patterson. Melinda Tate, I know you got a lot going on.
Always. Okay, need to make sure I got this right. All right, well, we're not quite ready for Christmas yet. We still have a few autumn things to do. First of all, our fall harvest hayride is this Friday, and we've been doing this for years, and it's one of my favorite events. It's very casual. We make the fire, we make the bonfire for you. We've got the s'mores kits. All you need to do is show up. It's $3 per person, and we actually have a hayride that goes down the Greenway, and that's pretty fun. The St. Clair Senior Center will have our pancake breakfast Thursday, November 10th from 9 to 10 a.m. It's limited to 100 people, so if you could register today, that'd be great. And fall is a great time at the Wilderness Station, and there's so many things going on. This is just one of them, Turtle Talk, November 10th at 2 p.m., and it's free. I don't know if the turtles actually talk. I think it's talking about the turtles.
We've got them well trained.
Perform Murfreesboro will be performing Elf Jr., the musical, November 17th through 20th at the Washington Theater. I would recommend you get tickets early because their performances always sell out, and this should get you in the mood for the holidays. Youth basketball registration is going on now through November 18th. And you can register at McFadden Sportscom, Patterson Park, in the main office, or online. And the games will start in January. Online, go to murfreesboroparks.com and search for youth basketball. Cannonsburg Village, we will have our drive-through Christmas lights. These will be Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays beginning December 2nd through the 19th from 5 to 8 p.m. And it's completely free. You will drive through the village, and we have started putting the lights up now, and it will take a minute to put them all up, but it's a nice, fun family thing to do. Nature in the Wild is another thing at the Wilderness Station. We are looking for artists. The booths, the table space is $25 if you're interested. And this is art of nature and art made by materials in nature. This is Saturday, December 10th from 10 to 4 at the Wilderness Station at Barfield Crescent Park. And Music in the Wild, the same day, December 10th from 6 to 8 p.m. This is also completely free. It's featuring the Tipton County Travelers. Again, at the Wilderness Station at Barfield Crescent Park, Saturday, December 10th. Okay, we can talk about Christmas now. The Christmas parade will be Sunday, December 11th, 2 p.m., and applications are available online if your group or organization is interested in being in the parade. It does go down Main Street. It starts around MTSU and ends on the square. Registration has started for our New Year's Day 5K on New Year's Day, and it's open to 500 participants. I believe we've sold out the last 2 years. The race is at Barfield Crescent Park. Go to murfreesboroparks.com to register. And 5K is a little over 3 miles. For these and many, many, many other events and programs, you can go to murfreesboroparks.com. We've got a calendar, and all the dots represent days that something is going on. So we've always got something going on. And of course, you can find us on Facebook with one of our many Facebook pages, depending on your interests. Does anybody have any questions?
Thanks, Melinda. Lots going on as usual.
As usual.
And we're very blessed to have the staff to make all this happen. We couldn't do it without you guys over there and all your associates. So a lot going on. So very good. little bit of other business. Don Turner, you want to speak a little bit about the golf commission or golf course?
Yeah, thank you, Eddie. Just briefly, the course has been, Old Fort Golf Course has been extremely busy, and so has Bloomfield Links. We've been blessed with good weather this summer and this fall, and we've been extremely busy. Give you some idea, in 2021 at Old Fort, we had 48,000 rounds of golf. That's how busy we were. 2022 through, this is about the end of August, we had 35,000 rounds already at Old Fort. We were hoping to redo our greens, our bunkers, and do some work on our cart paths next year, but due to a lack of funding, it's probably been put off till 2024. We're hoping our city council will fund that for us in 2024. We were going to redo the greens, the bunkers, and quite a bit of work on the cart paths. We've been very proud of our Kids Play Free program. Through May of this year, we had 950 kids on the Kids Play Free program. Mayor McFarland has had another tournament, I think in September, and this is a fundraiser for the Kids Play Free program. It was at Stones River Country Club. And Scott Stallings, who is one of the PGA professionals, lives in East Tennessee, also helps fund that. And he had a good year, finished in the top 30 in the FedEx Cup race this year. So, but we're very proud of it, and seems to be going really well. And that's about all I got, Eddie. But any questions at all?
Good report.
Well, we did have some problems with the greens at Old Fort. It got a virus back when we were getting all the rain. They are repairing themselves due to the cooler weather. Our bent grass likes cooler weather. They've been doing a lot of patching, and the greens are in good shape now.
Very good. Thank you. Everything's busy. Before we adjourn, Thomas, I didn't tell you I was going to call on you, but you want to give us a little bit of an update with the All-Star game out at Miracle Field, how all that went?
We had a fantastic weekend in September for the Miracle League All-Star. We had 126 athletes from across the country and Mexico came into town. They arrived on Friday. We treated them to a true Parks and Recreation party on Friday night at McKnight Park with Burrow Beach being open. They were able to go to the field and do some batting practice. Home run derby was a huge success. And then we had 6 games on Saturday. The staff did a phenomenal job, from the senior center staff coordinating the transportation to the athletic staff in the operations of the games. It was just a group effort from the whole department. And then we concluded the event with a banquet at the embassy that was just over the top. Great experience across the board. We heard nothing but positive comments, and a lot of different directors. There were close to 138 directors here from different Miracle Leagues across the country, and all of them were adamant about using Murfreesboro as the model for their program. So we're very proud of, the city should be very proud of what they have here with Miracle Field and the culture it's created for our community.
Thank you, Thomas. That's one of our biggest jewels in our crown right there. There's no doubt about that. Is there any other business to come before the commission? If not, we'll stand adjourned.